good to see you this morning. How's lockdown been treating you?
Lockdown hasn't been fun, eh? Morning, Ruan.
I can imagine. So, other than being a part of the Lifework Leadership Group this year, you are, of course, responsible for the operations there at Funanani. Do you mind telling us a little bit, in case there's someone not aware of what Funanani is and what it is that you guys are doing?
Thank you, Ron. Yes, Funanani Trust is a charitable trust. We work under the auspices of Ruan Ministry's main congregation. We mainly focus on community development in Mamelodi, but we also assist Ruan with their congregational care, looking after the people in the church that has a need from time to time.
So I'm sure that in the non-profit space, Corona and the lockdown we're currently in here in South Africa has also affected your organization. Do you mind telling us how?
Yes, I think your mainstream programs obviously have stopped. So, I mean, most NGOs have programs, whether it's for the homeless, whether it's for youth, ECDs, etc. So all those programs effectively have stopped. It has a direct impact on our beneficiaries because those kids or people that came to our centers to not just get, whether it's education, help, or whatever services we rendered to them, a lot of them obviously also came and they were given a meal, either 1 or 2 meals a day. So that has a direct effect on those families as well.
Well, I can imagine. And do you mind telling us about the current need which you're seeing there on grassroots level, on ground level, where you serve the community in the east of Pretoria, in Mamelodi?
Yes, Ron, we work hand in hand with Leeuwenhoek. I mean, we are part of the Leeuwenhoek family. We're basically a department in the church. So Leeuwenhoek has launched a disaster relief response effort where we buy food and then we distribute the food parcels through organizations, through us. Our leaders are dropping food parcels at families' houses. And we also have partnered with some churches in Mamelodi, where they then distribute the food parcels that we then drop at their churches as well.
And I'm sure that a lot of the people in your community are either unemployed or form part of the, you know, the informal sector within our economy. And maybe some of those people, or a large number of them, might even be, you know, those that do piece job work, you know, day to day. So now it's 3 weeks in to this lockdown. I'm sure the people's money and savings, if they had any, has run out. So are people looking for food and basic necessities?
Yes, I think it's not just in the informal settlements. I think all churches have the same challenges. People in our congregations and the communities where we serve with community programs, a lot of small businesses are suffering, as we all know. So people don't have an income. Most people are trying to pay their employees as long as they can. But yes, in the informal areas especially, piece jobs, domestic workers, but also people that work in the blue-collar sector, they're all suffering. So a lot of the families that we do give food parcels to, and that is irrespective whether it's in Mamelodi or whether it's in the suburbs, it doesn't matter. There's usually one person that might have an income, and then the people that live, I would say, near the poverty line, they usually have one SASA grant between 6 or 7 people. A lot of families have locked down with 1 or 2 families combined in a household as well. So the people that live on the poverty line or under the poverty line are obviously the people that are mostly affected. But more and more people are coming to us and asking for food parcels. And I'm talking about people that used to have their own businesses, people that was okay, they made a fairly good living, and they were able to afford schooling and everything. But more and more families, I mean, with us, the need has literally tripled in the last week for food parcels in the suburbs, and then obviously the need in the informal settlements, or just in poorer areas, are definitely increasing. And I think the need is definitely going to increase towards the end of the month as well.
So practically speaking, yes, the need is then for food or basic necessities. Should people, send you guys the food, or is it easier in this time if you guys who have the permits receive money and go and buy the food and distribute it?
Yeah, I think, Ruan, it's easier. If people donate money to Funanani Trust, we are able to issue Article 18A certificate for those who want the tax benefit of that. But people who have permits, we have people that donate veggies to us. They come and drop it at the church. We then pack it and distribute that either in bulk to churches and organizations that we partner with. And then we also use some of those donations to pack in food parcels, which we then go and drop house to house. But I want to say, Ruan, there's so many practical ways people can get involved. I think in this time, everything that we have, the things that we own, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you stay in Waterkloof, Mooikloof, or the west of Pretoria. The fancy car in your garage is gathering dust. The toys in your house, it can keep you busy for just so long. And I think if we can just do something, it doesn't matter what you do, but just do something. We are all on WhatsApp groups in the streets that we stay, in the neighborhoods that we stay. If you haven't already reached out to your own family or your extended family who's struggling, maybe a business partner or somebody that you know that have a small business that you maybe can help to pay his food for him and his family, maybe help him to pay his employees if you are able to. But something small, like just reaching out on a WhatsApp group and say, in your street, does everybody have food? Is there an elderly person, a single mother or single parent maybe that you can help? Food and basic essentials are the main thing that people need. A lot of people are struggling to pay their rent, obviously, as well. And in your church, I think the go-to is always your church, where you worship and where you are committed already. Find out what your own church is doing. Find out what they are doing for the poor, for people that's struggling. And I think the definition of poor has changed in this time for us. It's not just, we live a normal life and then we're going to go somewhere to reach out to the poor somewhere, like we always try to do in the church. We try to do the good thing. We have people literally next to us in our neighborhoods that struggle just because of the lockdown. Circumstances have changed forever, I think, in the way we do things. And just reaching out to your neighbor, but also find out what your church is doing, commit there, give there, serve there if you can. If you don't have any other place to give, we will also at the end of this interview give some information through of organizations that do work in this time out there in the communities. But I think we almost just hear from God and do it prayerfully, be wise in our giving as well. But just do something, just help someone, because there are so many people that have a dire need at this point in time.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you. This is the time where we can be the hands and the feet of Jesus and, make a difference in whichever scale or on whichever scale we can get involved. But if I heard you there, you're encouraging people, get involved in your local church or in your local community, try and establish what the needs are and how you can help assist, to bring the solutions to those people's needs. Any other organizations? We've highlighted Funanani, but maybe one or two of your partnering organizations also doing work in the city, maybe in other areas?
Yes, I will name a few by name, but I also want to say is that churches in the townships, churches in the inner city of Pretoria, there are so many churches and NGOs that doesn't have the resources the mainstream churches have. And I think if we can reach out to those churches, because they are living in the areas with the biggest need. So if you can and if you are able to, try to partner with local churches and partners in those areas to also enable them to have more resources. Then for us, we love the people in the inner city. We love Tshwane Leadership Foundation and PEN, among many other churches, I must say, smaller churches and other non-profits in the inner city of Tshwane. They are doing an excellent job with the homeless shelters. There's 7 or 8 homeless shelters that has been erected in this time. But I also want to say it is just a continuation of what they are already doing in terms of their mission and operations in general. But they are doing awesome work. Some of the shelters in the inner city are managed by the city of Tshwane, and some of them are managed by Tshwane Leadership Foundation, others by PEN. And then, as I said, they are also in partnership with many smaller churches. And I want to say that these guys are just, they need our respect. They've opened church halls, they've opened church buildings to let the homeless in. And I think for most mainstream churches also it's a challenge because we are not doing that. And we need to really respect what they do and support them because they're really looking after the most vulnerable at this point in time. Then we also have, I think, Ron, you will mention also Dare to Love. There are thousands of other NGOs and faith-based organizations that you can get involved in. These are just the tip of the iceberg.
But I heard you saying there, the few names, just to repeat them, maybe is TLF, Tshwane Leadership Foundation, PEN, and also Dare to Love, working in our inner city communities, mostly including Marabastad, reaching out to the destitute, the vulnerable, the people really in dire straits and in dire need of basic, essential services, food at the moment.
Yes.
Ronel, thank you. Thank you for your time. We applaud the work you guys are doing at Funanani and you representing the whole non-profit or NGO space here in Pretoria on this interview for us. We really want to thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for what you're doing. And if in any way we as a business community can take hands with you, partner, strengthen what you're doing, even if it's only through prayer, we would love to do that. And we want to encourage you to keep on fighting the good fight of faith. As Paul said, this month, seeing that you're part of the Life Work class, our upcoming session is going to be on generosity. So isn't that, I don't believe in coincidences. Someone said coincidence is God's way of performing a miracle and staying anonymous. So maybe these are practical ways in which we can apply whatever we've learned. Any last thoughts or words of encouragement on your side, maybe related to the topic of generosity?
Yeah, I just think we should just, keep believing in Jesus. This is a time where we should not be discouraged. This is a time where we can be the light. We can be Jesus's hands and feet. Church as we know it has changed. The buildings are empty. We are a church deployed.
Love that. Thank you so much, Ronel. All the best. We're praying for you guys, and may you just continue to grow from strength to strength. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.